So, why is creating content so vitally important, especially in this day and age, for the person that is running a business, you're in sales, you're building a business, you're trying to start a brand, all of those types of things? Why is this so key? About 5 or 6 years ago, I started consuming content from someone that's probably very familiar to all of you, Gary Vaynerchuk. And one of the most important things that stood out to me that I started learning was that, yes, you run a business, you're a business owner. But in today's age, you have to think of yourself as a media company first. And this is a missing link in so many companies, so many different, small businesses that are started. They miss out on this opportunity to actually get an audience to engage with them based on the content that they're putting out that is of interest to them. It's kind of like right now when you have an idea or thought, or you want to know how to do something, you go to Google, you go to YouTube in particular, where if you have to learn something or you want more information on something, you want to watch a video or you want to listen to a podcast from an expert on that topic. Well, the only way for you in this day and age to become an expert or seen as an expert on anything is to produce content about what it is that you do. I don't care what the industry is. When you're looking at building a brand, social media is exactly how you need to go about doing that. And I understand a lot of people may be kind of intimidated, right, about getting in front of a camera like I am now. Kind of you kind of see me as looking at you, but literally what I'm doing is looking at a camera lens. That's it. There's nothing else for me. I'm looking at a camera lens. And you might think that's kind of intimidating, but what I also realize is that behind that lens right now, you're watching me. And so I have to be, quote unquote, on. I have to be engaged in what it is that I'm talking about, the same way that you have to be in order to get that interest from an audience that you're trying to build, clients that you're trying to bring in, customers that you're trying to sell to. You have to be able to communicate these things in a way that is going to be appealing to them. Now, you didn't get here by happen chance or happenstance. I forget how to pronounce that word. You either got here because you were in my ecosystem, you got an email, you're in an email list, or you just did a simple search and you wound up on this video. This is the same way that so many of your clients will get to you. And just remember back, just think, how did you get to me? You got to me through consuming the content that I produced. Doesn't mean that I was selling you anything or that you've ever bought anything from me. But what it means is that you started seeing me as a trusted advisor to be able to instruct you on certain things. It's the only reason you're here. It's the only reason you're watching. And it's going to be the same exact thing when you start producing content like I want to show you how to do in order to engage with your clients and with your potential customers. Because this is the name of the game. Marketing today is all about technology. It's all about social media, and it's about producing content in video format, audio format, written words, or images. Those are your choices. This particular thing that I'm teaching is going to really focus in on video production. The reason being is because video production gives you everything else that I just named. You got the video. From that video, you can create a podcast or just audio. You can strip the audio. From this same thing, you can also create images and quotes that you can put on from that. And then also from this video, besides the images, besides the audio, stripping the audio, you can chop this up into smaller chunks in order to produce more content, smaller content for clips, like maybe on Instagram. You can create blogs from this by transcribing this and getting the audio. Transcriptions now are just amazing to be able to do this. I've written whole books from transcriptions of videos that I've done. So the sky is the limit on this. So I want to focus in on video because by doing video, you can literally do everything else. And this is the hardest thing to do. So I want to focus in on that. I want to take a look over here on my screen. There are definitely some things that I want to go through in what I'm going to be presenting to you. We're going to talk about, which I've already started, why is creating content so important? It's the gateway. It's the gateway for all of us producing content in order to get eyes on what it is that we're doing, what it is that we're selling, how it is that we're able to help, so on and so forth. We're going to talk about things like your gear. We're going to go through like using your cell phone to start off with. Your smartphone, I started off that way. So we're going to talk about how to use your smartphone. We're going to talk about how to use a DSLR camera. It's what I'm using right now to record this. We're going to talk about your microphones. You can't see my mic. Maybe if I can pull it down just a bit. My microphone is just off camera. It talks about microphones. I even use a microphone like this as well to do what I need to do depending on what I'm doing. We're going to talk about your audio interfaces. An audio interface is just a way for your audio to go into your computer. This is a simple one. There are many different types. If you're not using a USB microphone, which I'm not. I'm using what's called an XLR microphone. So we're going to talk about your microphones, your audio interfaces. We're even going to talk about your lighting. The lighting that you see right now is just natural light. I'm literally sitting in front of a window, and I've got another window, big pane window off to the side. So the lighting is great, but I also have additional lights around depending on what I'm doing. We're going to talk about green screens, which is amazing. We're going to talk about backdrops and even webcams that you can use to produce some amazing video as well. We're going to talk about not just the gear, but we're going to talk about the software that you can use. The software that I'm using right now to record this is called Ecamm Live. And all these links I'll have in the description of the video as well, so you can check them out. We're going to talk about WeVideo, which is an editing piece of software. We're going to talk about Canva, which is a free website you can go to create some amazing images. If you've ever seen some of my YouTube thumbnails, they're all created in Canva. We're going to talk about background music, how you can get royalty-free background music through a service that I use called artlist.io. We're going to talk about Amazon S3. It's a place you can store your videos for use like on a landing page or things of that nature. So we're going to go through all of that. We're going to go through probably the thing that stops people the most is how to create content topics. How do you come up with the topics that you want to talk about in your industry? How do you discover the topics that you can talk about in your industry? We're going to talk about how I do that and how I've done it for years. And we're also going to talk about the platforms that are out there to use. We're going to talk about YouTube. We're going to talk about Facebook. And we'll probably also get a little bit into Instagram as well. The main one that I would tell anyone to get on, especially if you're producing content in video format, you must develop a YouTube channel. These are the things that we're going to go through in this course that I'm putting together. And I believe that it is going to be a game changer for so many of you because you're just kind of stuck. You don't know what to do next, and you don't know how to get eyes on what it is that you're doing. So even beyond all of this, there's going to be a little bit at the end as well, talking about your sales and marketing tactics that you need to use. How are you going to get this information out there? How are you actually going to get the eyeballs on what it is that you're doing, the service or product that you sell, and how are you going to enable that to continue to grow organically and as well as some paid means as well. So I hope this is going to be beneficial. Well, I know it's going to be beneficial for you, and I hope you get a ton of information out of it. First things first, in the next video, let's talk about your gear.